Hi, it's me again. Um, just to give you a bit of an update, I wasn't actually going to do any more of these um, because the news that I got from the consultant wasn't what I expected. Um, so I didn't think there was probably much point in me continuing to log what was happening to me. However, I've had a few days to let that sink in now, and I have dipped into some of the information that I have been given at the hospital, and also dipped into a Facebook group as well that I've joined. So to start off with, um, the the doctor that I met at the oncology haematology clinic was extremely nice and had a lot of time to explain things to me and ask if I'd got any questions, which of course I had written down some questions before I went, which is always a good idea, I think. But of course, you know, as he tells me things, it probably raises more questions that I don't quite know what they are at the time, but you know, I'll have opportunities to sort of find out more about it. And one of the things that I have noticed in the Facebook group that I'm in is that people do seem to be experts in lymphoma and use abbreviations that I don't know what they mean yet. And I wish they'd just sort of explain what all these letters mean. A couple of them are sort of kind of obvious when you think about it, but for a newcomer to this disease, it's a bit hard to understand what some people are talking about, despite being a scientist. So I'll probably become somebody who is annoyingly expert on this as well at some point. So what I have is follicular lymphoma. That sounds like it should be something out of a chitty bang bang song. To use the follicular, but it's not. It's a type of cancer. So there's no point singing about it really. So it's taken me, and I'm still sort of chewing it about in my head as well. It's taken me a few days to think about it. So it's follicular lymphoma, and it's low grade, slow growing, which is good news. So it's not going to sort of rapidly eat me up. But the bad news is it's non-Hodgkin's and it is not curable. So it's not going to eat me up, but it's not going to go away, is basically what I've been told. So kind of like all the things that I was prepared for, and the reason why I thought about doing this series of videos is that I thought I was going to go on this journey with chemotherapy, losing my hair, blah de blah de blah de blah, but it doesn't seem that that is going to be the case. So that is kind of good news, but it is still a journey, which is why I've decided to keep doing these videos. So it's not the same journey that I thought it was going to be, but it is still going to be a journey. And the next part of my journey is to have some more tests. So I'm having tests done to see if the cancer is still in one place, which is the lymph nodes in my armpit, my right armpit, or if anything has travelled anywhere else. So it's kind of quite a complicated sort of cancer, really, because it's a cancer of a bodily system rather than it being a cancer that's located in one particular part of the body. It's a cancer that affects a system. If you can sort of like understand that, so it's some people call it a blood cancer, and it affects the immune system because that's what your lymph nodes deal with. So that's why it's like kind of quite hard to pinpoint a treatment for it. So next week, oh, and before I forget, it apparently has absolutely nothing to do with my lung problem. So my lung problem is a completely different disease altogether. So yeah, it's that bog off offer I was telling you about, buy one get one free. And having said that, I'm now under sort of another couple of consultants as well, but I'll tell you more about that later. So that's it's not brilliant, is it? But there we go. So we'll just have to see. So the next thing that I'm going to have done is a bone marrow biopsy, and that's next week, and that's to see if there's any of these cancerous cells in my bone marrow, if it's travelled sort of through my bone marrow system. So that doesn't sound like it's an incredibly pleasant procedure, but like most of these things, it's not going to last all day, so I just have to, get my big ill pants on and put up with it. So that's what I intend to do. So I will tell you more about that after I've had it. It was supposed to be this week, but because of the Easter bank holiday, they didn't want the sample to go and not be dealt with and then spoil, and me have to go back and have another one. So they put it to after the bank holiday weekend now. So yeah, so I'm having a bone marrow biopsy and a PET scan. And I do mean a PET scan. I know I'm into pets, but I do actually mean a PET scan, which is like a 3-dimensional scan of your whole body to see if there's anything anywhere else. So that's kind of it for now. If they don't find it anywhere else, then I will be able to go to Preston and have radiotherapy and have the area where it is zapped with radiotherapy, and we'll see. It might sort of shrink it, stop it in its tracks for now, slow it down. It all sounds like it's very much wait and see, have another test, see what's going on now. So I've dipped into like I say, this group, and you actually come away with like a whole pack of stuff from the hospital, including a book about it. And I've dipped into it. I haven't sat and studied it yet, because it sounded sort of like fairly positive at the hospital, but then when I've dipped into the stuff that they're giving me to read and dipped into the group, it's actually sort of quite scary again. And so it seems that some of the treatments involve blood transfusions, plasma transfusions, stem cell transfusions, and they seem to leave people like incredibly poorly. So it's not, the thing like thinking, oh, chemotherapy, and it's going to, some people do have chemotherapy, but that's usually for the other type of lymphoma, the Hodgkin's lymphoma. And maybe I might have chemotherapy, it might sort of change, and because it's not confined to one thing, but we don't, it's really taking one step at a time, basically. And there's sort of phrases that come like watch and wait, and monitoring, and there's maintenance therapy, which I thought was just like, keeping an eye on you, but that's actually drug therapy. So what I have done, because I am sort of quite a big believer in helping yourself. It's all well and good to expect the NHS to help and do bits and bobs for us and whatnot, but I have changed my diet. Whether that'll make any difference, I don't know. But it can't harm to eat more healthily. And although I would have thought, and I would have said that I did eat sort of fairly healthily anyway, I have sort of geared myself towards Marks and Spencer's or Booth's ready meals rather a lot of late. So I'm eating a lot more white meat, in fact mainly fish, and green vegetables. So I'm making a conscious effort to eat that kind of thing. I'm also eating cooked tomatoes. I've kind of done a bit of reading up on that. So I've ordered a cookbook from the Will Marsden cookbook that came yesterday, I think it was. So I've had a look at some recipes in there, and I have ordered another one, and it's called, Chris Beats Cancer, and it's kind of about a natural, holistic way of eating and lifestyle changes. I'm not looking at not having any of the hospital treatments, but I'm looking at things that will complement, not alternatives, complementary things that I can do to help myself. So diet, lifestyle changes, and things like that, and just try and like live my life as best I can, living in until the next thing comes up or whatever, so I can still go to work, which is kind of a relief because it's quite a stressful time at the moment at work anyway, and there isn't much left of that time, so I'm still able to do that, which is good, apart from obviously taking time off for appointments and things, of which there will be quite a few, I think. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at the moment. I'm just looking at my notes. I've got a little black book which I'm hitting myself in the face with, but also writing everything down, so that I don't forget what's been said to me or what I need to ask, and what the kind of buzzwords are that I need to look up or whatever. So yeah, so the journey begins, and I will keep you posted. So thank you again for watching and listening, and we'll see each other after the bone marrow biopsy, I would imagine. Okay.